Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, episode 131. My name is Glenn Gers, and every afternoon, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, if I can make it, I come here to you to let you watch over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script. The purpose of this is simply to show you the process of screenwriting, because as great as it is to talk about the end result, the only way you get to the end result is step by step, every day, scene by scene, line by line. And nobody talks about that process of figuring it out as you write it, of overcoming the sense that you don't know what you're doing, or that the outline isn't working, or just I got to write a bad first draft to write the next draft better. All of those things are things that really make the difference between being able to write a script and not being able to write a script. Don't even think about whether your script is good. Just think about whether you can write your script. And that's what I am here to show you, how it happens, how you write a script. It's not the only way to write a script. It's not the best way to write a script. It's just the way that I worked out for myself in a 25-year career writing for TV and movies, and now I am showing it to you on YouTube because nobody else seems to be showing you this kind of thing. So, to begin with, though, I want to talk because I read something today that just blew my mind because it was A, so good, and B, so exactly what I am currently doing. Excuse me. Allergy season here in California. I am about to sneeze. Sorry. Okay, so there is this novelist named George Saunders who also teaches, apparently, story writing classes. And so he wrote a book called A Swim in a Pond in the Rain, which I strongly recommend. Here's the information. Swim in a Pond in the Rain. 4 Russian masters give a master class on writing, reading, and life. I'm just worried about the writing part. But anyway, that's an excellent book just to show you the process of writing. It's about writing short stories, but the writing process, and this is the big thing I'm trying to show. Writing process is everything. The mechanics of whether you're writing it into a script or a story or an epic poem don't matter. What matters is the process of learning how to reveal things in order to create a character, to create a dramatic story. That's the most important thing you need to learn. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Kirby. Hello, hello, Natasha. And hello, Andrea. We are talking about this thing I read today by a guy named George Saunders. He has a blog, and I put the link down in the description right here. The title of this blog post is "That's Not a Mistake, It's an Avoidance Moment." And it's from a blog called Story Club with George Saunders. And I am actually going to read to you a bunch of this thing. I don't want to go through the whole thing. Do I read short films? Sure. Go to my website. Hold on. Let's do some business. Writingforscreens.com. That is the way to get to me. You push contact me and it will open up a little window. You can write me an email. You can tell me your situation and we will figure it out from there. Hello, Janae. Okay, so let's talk for a second about George Saunders, That's Not a Mistake, It's an Avoidance Moment. I'm just showing you my PDF here of this amazing... yeah. Why are you an issue? I'm not. I'm just not done. So I'm going to read you some quotes here. He's talking about those moments in a story that are somehow not there yet, that are not quite right. Those places where the language gets imprecise or the logic is somehow off or the author inexplicably inserts a leap forward or backward in time or a spaceship comes out of nowhere. Okay, so this is exactly the stuff we are dealing with right now in our script, my script, the one I'm showing you that I'm teaching with. This whole sequence here that I have been showing you about the last sequence has all these ideas that are kind of there, but they're not quite right. And this is what George Saunders is talking about when he talks about those moments that are not quite right. And what he says about them is, in the workshop world, meaning the writing class world, we tend to think of these places as problems that need fixing. But a story is not a car. It's an organic, evolving system that is coming forth from our subconscious on its own peculiar schedule. The problem with the approach of trying to look at this as problems to be fixed, like it's a car with a bad wheel, this approach fails to see a beautiful story for what it really is, a culmination of a series of revisions. That is, a good story occurs in waves. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you here. The thing I wrote was the closest I could come at the time to these scenes. I knew roughly where the scenes were going to land. I knew roughly what they had to accomplish, but I couldn't quite figure them out. So I did what George Saunders is calling placeholders, avoidance moments. In other words, I knew that I was going to rewrite it. And he says, say we gaze into our crystal ball and see that a given story is going to take 100 drafts to achieve its final lovely perfect state. The writer brings draft 46 into workshop, or in our case, I've shown you draft 1. That draft will contain certain moments that, as we said above, aren't there yet. Well, of course it will. How could it not? It's draft 46, for Lord's sake. So this is just the most amazing quote. So a rough patch in a story is not an error or a defect or evidence of our lack of talent or proof that we are imposters missing some essential frequency being broadcast from Story Central. I love this. This is so right. Because so many writing teachers are like, the right answer's out there. Why aren't you getting it? It's an indicator that our heroic, brilliant subconscious is working out a problem as it stumbles toward beauty and is asking for our help. And what it needs for us to do just now is have faith and wait. And while we're waiting, this is really important, as an active form of waiting, keep revising that bit and everything around it. Be okay for now with its apparent imperfection, which is really actually just a momentary lagging behind. Keep coming back to that place with affection and hope until it relents and pops into clarity. I cannot tell you how incredibly good this is. Please read this essay. I linked it below. The point is, when you become comfortable with writing, when you become a professional writer, or when you become just an excellent writer, you know that it builds up in pieces. It builds up in lines, moments here and there, and then you go, oh, and then eventually you figure out, okay, I finally see what's wrong with that, but I had to come at it 14 different times, 100 different times. That's okay. You get comfortable at it because you know every time you're making it a little bit more there. That's what we are doing here. I'm doing the fastest version I can because you're watching me on YouTube, but that's the process of writing. If you knew nothing else, you could become a great writer just from that. That's really the whole game. If you can just recognize that it's writing, rewriting, looking at it, figuring it out, kind of getting another piece there, that's the writing. That is the game. And he said, it's interesting. If there's one place in history I can identify as an avoidance moment, there will often be others as well. I've come to understand these as a sort of codependent system. These places are related. They cross-inform one another. Often in revision, once one gets solved, another will quickly follow. As we tighten and improve one place, this narrows the range of possibility. Oh, you're not seeing it. As we tighten and improve in one place, this narrows the range of possibilities in others. That's the key, is that I know when I work on a certain scene, maybe I'm going to get it. Maybe there's another scene earlier on that I'm going to have to figure out in order to come back to that. That is the game. We are basically professional receptors of gifts given by the subconscious. One of our acquired skills is sitting for hours, positing the will of the subconscious. In other words, we have to sit there figuring out how our subconscious is going to speak to us, and we can get pretty good at knowing what it needs from us. That is it. That is writing. If you can get good at knowing this process and saying, this part is bothering me, and now let's get to our script because there is a thing that is bothering me, and it has been bothering me in this scene. I've come at it several different ways. Not that. This one. Am I clinging to the idea that Deakins has no idea who the grouper George is? I'm really wrestling with the thing I don't yet know is Deakins' side of this story. I've got Madeline and Norman and Xena. I understand what they're coming into this scene with. I'm having a problem with Deakins because I know what I want to end up with. I know where it's going, which is that he has been pulled out of retirement and is now forced into a relationship with these people. That's what has to end with. But how it gets there, I don't know. And I've had different things on my mind. So the thing I've been clinging to is the idea that it's really cool if Deakins had no clue what was going on here. No clue that George was saying he could find him and all that stuff. That seems really important to me. The problem is it's making this scene very difficult to explain. There's all these levels of explanation that I need to get to. I kind of think that that's going to work out to the advantage of the scene, but I haven't figured out how yet. The thing is, there are so many things that need to be explained here. And the thing I worry about, the reason I asked myself this question is this. If you find yourself stuck at a certain point in any writing, one of the things you have to check is, am I clinging to something that is getting in the way of this making sense, of this being what it needs to be, of this going where it wants to go? Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there's another problem. You haven't figured out something, or there's many reasons you can get stuck. But one of the biggest is you're clinging to something that is getting in the way of the rest of it. I am not sure yet if that's what's going on, but I had to raise the question for myself because, as we just saw in that other thing, it's going to take me draft after draft after draft going through this section of the script to figure it out. As I do it, if what happens is I solve everything else in the scene except this, that may be how I get to where I'm going to figure this out, because once I figured out other things, this will just become clearer. That's how the subconscious works, and I have gotten used to that, but what I think is really important is I explain that to you so that you don't just think, oh, everybody just writes and they figured it out and you can tell what it is. That's not how writing works. Writing works where you figure some things out really easily and you don't have other things for the longest time. I mean, we're talking sometimes months or years that I will have a project with a problem that I can't solve. If I put it aside and then I come back to it later and I keep working around it, eventually I will solve that problem. However, as George Saunders pointed out, that might be on draft 100. Right now, we're looking at draft 1.2. So, all right, let me quickly, you guys have been talking a lot, so let me go see what's up with you. All right. Hello, Marteltoso. Had a friend read my miniseries pilot script and it passed the first test as a definite page turner. Excellent. Congratulations. It is great to hear that you guys are writing and showing it to people and getting responses. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. This is great. Hi, Jean. Okay. You are welcome, Natasha. Okay. Our in the sense of video class, but of course your script. Yes, exactly. When I say we or our, I really mean I'm doing it for you. Okay. Hi, Ellen. Glad to see that you could make it. I know that you've got teaching work that often gets in the way of your schedule. It's great that you can be here. Okay. Dialectics Junkie is going to tell us his similar process. My first, call it 0th draft, is extremely exploratory. Characters change age, gender, personality halfway through. Plot threads that don't work get dropped mid-sentence. This is okay. Only after the 0th draft that I even start outlining. I have a hard time coming up with creative ideas unless I'm daydreaming concretely. This is good. This is really important. Everyone knows I believe in outlining. I also believe that it doesn't matter when you outline in your process. Dialectics Junkie does an exploratory plunge into the writing first and then starts outlining. Great. Fabulous. I have a friend, he's a showrunner and a novelist. He outlines every little scene to the 100th degree before he'll start writing. Also great. No rules. I have different ways I do it different times. It's all okay. All right. Yay. I'm glad that this is helping. Yes, this article, please do look at this article, this essay, and frankly, everything by this guy, George Saunders, about writing. I can't tell you how impressed I am by his ability to explain how a writer's brain works. I will get to transitions in a minute, Carbulite. Let me just, I'm going to take a quick screenshot in case that gets lost. Trevor Reese. There is a great Neil Gaiman quote that I always love. The second draft is convincing people that you knew what you were doing the whole time. Yes, very, very true. Actually, in some ways, the second draft is convincing yourself that the first draft is meaningful. The third draft has to do with other people. And actually, that's not the second and third. That's the 10th and 20th. Okay. Yes, daydreaming and staring at photos of my muse helps tremendously. That is good. Muses are helpful. Yes, going to the library when the library is a supportive library, when libraries are quiet and you can sit in them, is amazing. Okay, so good evening, Aaron. Okay. I started a script 2.5 years ago, and things that just pop in the middle of doing something that make the story much better. I changed an aspect of the character which changed the entire story, but that made the story something I'd love to see. Yes, absolutely. This is what happens. You don't get it all at once. In fact, I believe I got to get these organized. No one gets it all at once. This is really important, folks. No one in the history of the world has written a whole thing beginning to end just on a flash of inspiration all at once. Never. I mean, unless it's like a haiku, okay? It takes a process. It takes a working process to become creative. That is the thing that people don't seem to talk about enough about being creative, and especially about writing. They talk about the formula or they talk about the result. They don't talk about the process. And yet, that's the most important thing. Because whatever you're going to come to, whatever is your style and your vision and everything else, that can only come from your process. That's what starts it all. All right, let's get back to this, because I am just going to keep going through this damn thing until I figure out what I want to do about Deakins. And you know, I am going to keep it in the outline form right now. So we meet. Yeah, I'll leave that. Okay, so there's a minor technical thing about Zoom. I think I'm figuring it out. One of the things I realized is I I said this and it like produced a flurry of people telling me about what cables to use to put Zoom on George TV. That's not what I meant. I know how to get something on a TV. What I meant is why? Why does Zena put Zoom on George's big TV screen sharing? That's what I have to figure out. I don't care about how. That's like saying figure out, how they fly to the moon. I don't need to know all the technical details of flying to the moon. I need to know that they want to fly to the moon and why. What are they doing? Okay. So the main thing is Xena does a couple of moves. She's got like two things going on. Xena has the group who she's talking to on Zoom, and then she's got Deakins who she's talking to on the phone, and she's going back and forth between them. And what I've got now is that after a while, the people on Zoom start talking to Deakins, which is kind of weird if you think about it, because it's on one device talking to another device in a room, but that happens actually. The main thing is I was worried about they're all talking at once, and then she needs to talk to him, and then they need to come in later. And I thought she should mute them. I just realized there's a very simple solution to that. Don't have them mute them. Just have her say, I'm bringing you over. You have to shut up. And they shut up for a while, but then they can't hold it in anymore and they talk. So, Xena. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, so, well, there is no correct way. Janae saying that she feels like she's scared to outline because she feels like she's not doing it the correct way. There is no correct way, as far as I'm concerned. First of all, there is no correct way in the sense that there really is no correct way. There's actually no authority which is determining correct or not. So don't worry about it. There is no rule. No one's watching. The main thing you have to remember, let's just take a second here because this is really important. Let's talk about this with Janae. The outline is just for you. No one else needs to look at it. Ever, ever, ever. This is your workspace. It's like how you organize your closet. It only matters in that you can get to your clothes properly. That's all that matters. So, the main thing is I have 2 videos about outlining because I think it's really important. So if you want a way to outline, first check out how to outline, because it talks a lot about being afraid and things you're afraid of and how this outlining actually helps the things. But why does that? Then how to outline. This video says how to outline. It just explains an outline system, the one that I use, so that it's a simple way. It may work for you. You can always fool about it. I said it in the video. You adapt it to your ways. But there is no right way to outline. There is only the way that the writer needs to get the outline sorted in their head. That is it. Okay. Unless it's for a professor, yes, that's exactly right. If you are working for a company or in a writer's room and they have an outline format, they'll tell you what it is. Okay? And it will be different for each one because there is no right way. Every writer and boss has the way that they think is important. And if you're working for a boss, they'll tell you what they want. But most of us are not. And like, honestly, like if I'm working on an outline form for a boss, if I'm writing in a room and they want the outline written a certain way, I do my outline my way. When I get it figured out, then I translate it into their way. The whole point of an outline is that it's a workspace that puts things in scenes. That's really the most important thing that I know of. However you do that, I think it's best to really break those scenes up visually. Everybody's different. The main thing is if you can use the outline to organize your story, and the main thing about an outline is it should help you look at your story and ask what you don't know, what you haven't figured out, and give you a place to fix it right in the outline. You don't want to work on the outline and then solve your problem somewhere else and go back to the outline. That's a waste of everything. And it's a good way to get lost. Do the work in the outline, like I've been doing. I'm figuring stuff out, and then I write the answer in the outline, but I also write the question in the outline. So let's keep doing that. All I can say about everybody's working about outline style, and I urge you to really take a look at my how to outline, not because it's the right way, because at least it will help you figure out what your right way is. Everybody has a different right way. I don't know of any two writers who outline the same way. That is true, but I do want to say something. This is really important. Some people say, I don't want to know too much before I write because then it will be dull and flat. I promise you that, as you can see by watching how I'm doing it, it doesn't work that way. First of all, in the outline, you're just keeping yourself from problems that will get you lost. That's not fun. You say, it's kind of fun not to know where you're going. It's really not fun when you get to a part where you're just like, I don't understand this story and I'm stuck and I'm lost. The outline helps you to just organize that into, I've got this scene and I've got that scene and I got to get between them. But the main thing is you can leave things undetermined in the outline. That's fine. You can even leave, I often leave a question in the outline so that I know when I get to it. But when you get to that part of the script, if you're having trouble, go back to the outline, work there a little, then go back to the script. It's all okay. This is exactly right. The most important thing is to learn different ways and try them and see what works and doesn't, and find your style. I would ask you, Natasha, to try although I gotta say, Natasha is rocking so many scripts that I'm not gonna tell her that her system isn't working. But I definitely write notes wherever they hit me, but then I put them in the outline. As soon as I get back to my desk the next day, I will write them into the outline because that way they're all in one place. All of your thoughts should be in one place because then they can become part of the work. I would say the main thing is start with what works for you. Just keep it simple. Do whatever works for you. Aaron is giving you good advice, Janae. Okay, so let's get back to my outline because yeah, this is fine. By the way, about the people who are helping me with why she puts it on Zoom, it's pretty easy. She has come into a room where people are talking. She is talking to people on a phone, And in fact, I'm going to just write this down. She is involved emotionally with what is happening in the room with Madeline and Deakins on the phone. So she goes further in to put it on speaker. So now she's, but she has her Zoom group in her hand. So in order to go hands-free and to share with them, she screen shares and sets the phone somewhere it can take in the entire room. Okay. That's it. This is the explanation. I have figured it out. It is not a big deal. The big deal is how many steps of Deakins' brain advancing can I get to? You know what I need to do? I need to make a Deakins outline. All right, let's do this. I am going to copy the outline and make Deakins outline. There we go. Okay, now watch this, folks. Oh, sorry. I clicked on the wrong screen. All right. So basically everything before this, the first, I don't know, 12, 13 pages of our outline, boom, gone. Okay. The Deakins outline. That's what we're calling this. Alrighty, folks. Thank you, Aaron. That is my mission. Not everybody cares about that. And you know what? I don't mind. I watch some things, the characters aren't believable. In other cases, the characters aren't motivated. Sometimes that can be fine. I mean, honestly, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Okay, I think that show's really smart and really funny. Are the characters believable? Nah. Are they real within their unbelievability? Yes. Are they consistent? Are they emotionally powerful? Yes. Are they believable? Nah, but that's okay. It's all right. Okay. Yeah. Or maybe we'll just talk about outlining, Natasha. I would love that. You know how to contact me. Contact me on writingforscreens.com. Okay, so let's make this the Deakins outline. Okay, so he is reaching out nervously, is an impulsive act, but he had to buy a burner phone, so think about that. And we're going to make that a question because it's a question. See, this is a good way to solve the problem. My problem in this part of the script, I've narrowed it down to Deakins. Everybody else, you know, I kind of got them. You know, the technical questions of how and when people say things, that's just the job. This is the part that I haven't. I do not know really what Deakins is. Well, yeah, fine. We don't need that. Okay. Okay. This is not there. Okay, so I'm going to need to re-say these calls. Hesitates, then tells Mad, I didn't do it. Okay, that's really his action here. The point about my outline format is that this is the central action of the scene. These what I call scene lines, these big, heavy, extra large lines, they are trying to say this is the action of this section of the story. So I'm going to then go through, I'm going to really look at what we're doing. Okay, so Madeline picks up. We meet Deakins, but he doesn't speak. Okay. Then Deakins. Oh, but I had some cuts here, because this is overwritten. It's just too long, so I'm making some cuts. But I wanted to show you that I was making cuts so that you see that there's constant process. Every time I read through this, I say, "Oh, you know what? I don't need that," or "Oh, you know what? I need more." You know what? I don't even think I need this, because here's the thing. She's talking. She's listening. There are other Norman's there, but clearly she's talking to Madeline. I don't need to say into the phone. Okay. I don't need at last. See, this is better. Okay. Who am I speaking with? Are you... Who's this? Who's this? Not sure yet. I'm gonna give. I leave both versions. No, are you? No. Are you? Okay. All right. Oh. Hello. No problem. Yes, we yeah, Aaron is really good. Aaron is doing good stuff here. John Mark Escobar says, "What program are you using?" Okay, the script writing, I am using Final Draft. I'm actually using Final Draft 11 because I haven't really had a need to pay for an upgrade, because I no longer write scripts professionally. I'm only writing scripts here online for you guys, and then I'm going to be writing a novel, which I definitely wouldn't do in Final Draft. Anyway, this is Final Draft. This outline and all my other documents are in Pages, the Apple word processing software. However, I urge you to not care about what word processing software you use. The point is, almost everything that you want to do in writing, you can do in word processing. This is all just styles that I've created, paragraph styles, almost all of them, Google Docs, MS Word, all of them, they have the ability to set paragraph styles, and that's really all you need. So that's those are the programs I'm using. I'm going to... So he calls, he says, "I didn't do it." That is, okay, that's the breaking point for a new action, because Madeline is then trying to get Norman and partly Xena to be aware that what she's talking about is right. So she then, trying to keep him going, but also to make him say it, say, "Are you saying this is the chemistry set killer?" Okay. But you are the one that George was podcasting about. So she's answering that this little section doesn't matter. So he admits so, all right, let me just get back to the outline here. Okay, so in the outline, pushes him to actually admit his identity. He does, which makes him explain why he's calling. Okay. Aaron, well, thank you. Aaron is doing real good. And yeah. The problem is, cool. Good. John got what he needed. No, I have not always had that superpower. I barely have it now. But what I do have is the superpower I have is I have written well over 50 full scripts over 25 or more years, actually closer to 40 years. I have written so many of these things that it's not that hard for me to do. So, and that's actually what I'm trying to teach you. I want to get you to where you are like this, and I promise if you keep doing it, if you just keep writing them and making each one a little better than the last, better for you, better according to not according to what somebody else says, like with each one that you work on, try to give yourself a goal. Like, I want my dialogue to be faster in this one, or I want my dialogue to be more character-based. And so in the next couple of scripts, really focus on that. Choose projects that will let you do it, but mainly just work on making it better. No one else might even notice, but they're just going to notice that your scripts are working better. Every time you give yourself a personal challenge, I want to write a really funny script. I want to write a really scary script. I want to write a script and not take as long. I want to write a script really fast, even if it's bad. Whatever you can give yourself as a goal to keep writing. And I swear, the hardest thing I have to tell you is that the business sucks. The hardest thing about writing is you have to do it for 10,000 hours. You have to do it for 10 years. You have to do it for 20 scripts before you'll be really good at it. And that's just a fact. But then, why not? Would you expect to be really good at anything without working at it? Without studying it and practicing it? That's what nobody tells you. You have to really put in time and effort and study on your own. Nobody can tell you how to do it. You can take a class, you can get a seal of approval and a little paper that says, I am a screenwriter. Doesn't mean shit. What matters is that you write scripts and that you finish them and show them to people and you say, that one they liked. That one, it was a page turner. Natasha just got page turner reviews. Great. Now you got a page turner. Can you make it more emotional? Can you make it more commercial? Very often in my career and in my trying to have a career, I would say, I want to get better at dialogue. I also want to sell it. I'm going to try and find something that I think is commercial at the moment. Now, back when I was doing this, there was a much narrower window of what was commercial. Now there's a lot of different things, but choose one. Choose a thing out there that you say, I want to do a horror script. I want to do a romantic comedy. I want to do a very artsy indie. There's a market for each of those. And then work on making it the best version of that thing you can. Then the next script you write, because there will always be a next script, try a different one or try to do that one better. The next version of that horror script, not that horror script, but the next horror script. Whatever it is, that's how you learn screenwriting. And watching my YouTube channel. Okay. Wait. So I can write my... I don't know. This is a good question, Ellen, because I'm going to take you seriously. Haha, you're joking and I'm not. When you have all your sixth graders, do you have a computer or a pad that you are allowed to work on while they're doing their reading assignment? If in that case, the answer is eventually you can get to where, yes, you can even write then. And the only reason I tell you this is because I had to write as an office temp at sometimes a different office every day. And this was before I had a portable computer. So I had it all in notebooks and note cards and stuff, and I would carry it around in a little briefcase. And I would go there and I would sit at their desks and I would make the copies that was asked for and type the documents that was asked for. And in between that, I had to sneak in just a little bit. And that's why my system of documents became so important to me. I had to know that the outline was there when I turned to it. I couldn't sit down and say, okay, I have 5 minutes between screams. I need to sort out which document I'm using and figure out what draft this is. But never happened. If you say, I put everything into the outline, it's all in this one document and I'm working on just this one scene. So that right now, in between questions from you guys, I can go back and say, okay, in this next scene, I'm figuring this one out. And I just have to say, I'm going to look at that scene and I'm going to think about it. I'm going to get just one more sentence in this speech or one more sentence in the outline. And if you keep doing that, it's better not to have it during a class with screaming sixth graders, but on your lunch hour, something where you get like a half hour free. That it really can happen. You can actually write a whole project that way. Okay, so now I'm going to add, this is a turning point. Deakins opens up a bit, confessing a bit. Okay, so I'm going to make that a note to myself. So really, this has been the first section of the script. Deakins has been on one track all the way, which is, I am not sure I'm going to speak. I want to write that down. Up until now, Deakins has been uncertain that he wanted to actually connect. But now he does. Okay. Turning point. Until now, Deakins has been uncertain. Now, this is interesting because actually connecting is becoming a theme. In so many ways, this story is revealing itself to be about people unexpectedly or with difficulty connecting, which is really cool because once you start to see it, I see the beginning of the story is George talking to nobody, not connecting. And then he dies. He's murdered. And then we start to meet all these other people and they get pulled together and they have to learn how and when to connect. And this is the last one. That's the underlying meaning of this story. And I frankly just discovered it when I wrote Actually Connect, because I remembered earlier on between Norman and Madeline, I had talked about how they wanted to connect even though they had no reason to. So, yes, I love that quote. Anything that is worth doing badly. Yeah. Also, give yourself a break. If at some point in your life, this is so important. I'm going to show you my face. If something is happening in your life that makes it harder to write, let it be less. Don't try to keep up the same steady writing unless you are a full-time professional writer. And even then, I got to tell you, unless you're Stephen King, and I don't even know how he does it, but most people, they write unsteadily, sometimes more, sometimes less. Give yourself a break about that as long as you're doing something every once in a while to keep it alive. Or sometimes you just have to shut it down and say, this month, got the relatives coming in, I got the holidays, I am not going to open my work for the next 30 days. Give yourself a rest. When you come back to it, it will be there. You'll be fine. That is all right. However, I do think in general, for me, the only way I maintain my sanity is to touch base with my work every day. And honestly, there have been many times, even when I was like professionally writing a job with a deadline, where I would sit down, I would work for 15 minutes and get 1 or 2 lines and say, that's it for the day. That's all I can do. And that's okay, because if you keep doing that, it will work. Hello, show don't tell. Hello, but almost goodbye. Yeah, it is a great quote, which is definitely an English quote. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, the main thing about this quote is what they're saying is, if it's worth doing even if it's bad. That's really the point, because it often will be, which is another way of saying accept your 100 drafts and that you're going to have placeholders in your many drafts. It's okay. Look, we are making progress on this, even with all of this going on. I have, first of all, made a Deakins outline. That in itself is damn good. Second of all, we have gotten to this point. All right. And this is where we have this question. Okay. All right. So, let me see. I'm going to take a few minutes here. Kyle, I am so glad. And listen, seriously, everybody starts with nothing. So, 2 things I would say. One is, learn, my channel is there for you. Watch those videos, the ones in Screenwriting Essentials, Screenwriting Tools and Skills, and Process. Those 3 sections. Those are the ones with the shortest videos, and those are the most important videos. Those are the ones where I really said, if I had to leave a little explanation of how to write, and I was going to die, and this was all I was going to, this is it. I've still got some to go, but at least you should know that that's my message in a bottle. Okay. But the other thing is, screenwriting is a weird form. It takes time to learn. So I think I'm going to stop here, because this is going to be the big question of the next work session. Yes, that is absolutely right. Absolutely. This is all right. Yes, me too. Okay, everybody, we're gonna say goodbye soon because it's been an hour, and because this is a good stopping point. I've actually just the decision to focus on Deakins and figure out his story, and that's going to take some steps. It's going to, if you remember when I did Madeline's and stuff, when you take a single character out and say, I am going to imagine the story just as they experience it. I am going to solve the problems of their story just for itself. That's its own little adventure, and it takes many steps because you come up to problems. You're like, oh, I didn't really think about this, and it's the center of their personality. So, okay, that's what we're going to do next week. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a good, safe weekend. And wait, let me just check my calendar and see if I am... I am not here Monday. My mom's got an eye doctor appointment I got to take her to. So I will be here Tuesday, March 1st. That's when I will be back to start in again on Deakins' story. Okay, so that's it. Everybody, go write something.